Beautiful day, beautiful fall day. Nice to have you all here. Do we have anyone? We don't have anyone on video. So we'll call the meeting to order. First item is to approve the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Mayor Dale has moved the agenda, and who seconded it?
Adam.
Adam, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Next item is the minutes from August 20th. We've had a chance to look them over.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Councillor Kaler.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'll second it and ask for a change. When I and Paul, we met at North Star Electric, but we met with representatives of Minn Kota Power.
Okay. Would you note that correction?
Input out.
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second with a correction. Any more corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. The next item is the treasurer's report, Treasurer Kaler.
Yeah, first will be KEDA financial report, and there is a transfer to JLR for $131,668.26, and everything else looks to be in order. So I would recommend that we approve the financials for KEDA.
All right? Yeah.
I could, that 131 is their annual lease payment to us. So we accept it and then we put it in their own account, their own sub-account as JLR. That's why that's.
All right. And now, are we up to date with them payments?
Yep.
Very good. All right, we have a motion by Treasurer Kaler, and that does not require a second. Any further discussion? Correction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Continue, please.
All right, next will be cold weather testing, and there's a transfer from here of $15,000 to KEDA, and all the other financials to be in order, so I'd also recommend approving these.
Any questions? Clarification? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next item is the draft budget for 2026. Director Nevin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've included in your packets both the KEDA projected or draft budget, and it should it says January through December 2025. That should say 26 up on the very top. Sorry about that. And then the cold weather as well. We'll look at the. Also included in your packets is a budget narrative, just to kind of synthesize a little bit what we're looking at in terms of this budget versus last year. The good news is our starting position is really strong this year. Kyra does an estimate on where our starting balance will be January 1, and we're going to be at $306,000 compared to $122 last year. And that's due in large part to just one of our cold weather testers that was with us for 13 weeks this year, well into the springtime and early on, so that really helped. And I'll elaborate a little bit more when I get in here. It also, JLR did not have any personnel on the ground, so their expenses were minimized. So those two really contributed to help us with a very, very healthy balance. But again, to kind of just
Doesn't Sutherland work for JLR?
he does, but they didn't have any test groups coming from the UK,
Okay, yeah.
which they've done in the past. They're still post-COVID, and just because of some budget restraints, travel and such, that but we're expecting to return to somewhat normal with groups coming from overseas for JLR. But just again to summarize for everyone, we get funding for KEDA, two primary sources. One from the IRRB, and that's based on a taconite, a formula on taconite allocations for all the counties. Now, we're not technically, we're just a small part of Koochiching in the IRRB taxing district, yeah. But they worked out some years ago where they did, when they created this body, to allocate some funds from IRRB. So this year we're anticipating 85,000, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85 from IRRB. And it's been fairly consistent the last several years, between $80,000 and $85,000. The other funding comes in, the bulk of our funding comes from our own cold weather testing revenue, from Jaguar Land Rover specifically, and then a number of clients, most of them repeats. The other thing to note is that our budget, our operating budget, has been very consistent over the last number of years, very conservative by design, and just because of if you have to rely on testing budgets, it's never certain year to year, and I'll again elaborate a little bit more on that as we get further along. But so budgeting becomes a little tricky, but again, based on what we know historically and what we're already scheduled, I think we're going to be in a pretty good position this year, but it certainly helps to start out at $306,000. Now, my plan was initially to reach out to the city and county for operational funding specifically tied to capital projects at the test facility. I was going to ask for $25,000 from each body. They have not contributed directly to KEDA since, Kyra, was it 2014? 2012? It's been a while. But because we are operating that building that's now 35 years old, there's a number of projects that we have to, that we're prioritizing, and if we start taking operational funds to pay for capital improvement, it's going to put us in a tough position. In fact, 2 years ago, we had to work with the city that provided us some, because of cash flow, some funds to get us through the winter. But in any event, we're anticipating like 13 weeks of testing, which again makes up the bulk of our funding revenue. But based on our strong position for 2026, we did submit a request to the county for $25,000. We are going to take that request off the table again because of our position. So, but I think looking at the future, I think it's something that I would strongly suggest that we do is each year alternate between the city and county for funding for capital improvement projects. $25,000. I think that's reasonable, given again that we're doing work on their behalf. And one other thing I would just add is, retirement's on the horizon somewhere. It's not immediate, but I just think it's going to be terribly difficult to try to recruit somebody into this position when there's no direct funding from the city or county. When you're basically telling them, well, funding's up to you. I just think it's terribly difficult. It's worked out well Don't get me wrong, and we've had great success with it, but it's never a set number. It's never a known, and which is really hard for budgeting. So I would suggest that we do that going forward. It's not this year, but next year is working with the city and county for some supplemental funding for those projects. And just as you look at this budget, and it's a little different probably from what you normally see here, but in your other duties as representative of city and county, but what we've done in the past is typically we have a starting balance that we calculate, and then we do our expenses, and the shortfall between our revenues, and in this case, our revenues are $129,000 and our expenses are $256,000. To make up for that difference, we take from the cold weather testing budget to make up that shortfall. In this case, it's $118,000. So that's how we arrive at that number every year. Look at our expenses and then look at our revenue and just to make up the difference we take from cold weather testing. Any questions on that? I know it's a little convoluted, but
Well, you have, it says, the last sentence of income and funding, it said, well, cold weather testing has been successful. As we just learned last week, you're the victim of program cuts. What?
yes, and I'm sorry, it was in my director's report, but it's a,
All right.
thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chair. No, but I'll bring that in right now because we had 10 weeks of testing again from one customer, and they just suspended their electric truck program. So they called and they said, we're cutting the funding for that program. So basically we were budgeting on that. So we had to pull that. We're trying to backfill now, and we're confident that we can backfill a portion of that, but it's not guaranteed. So again, the vagaries of trying to make all that work and knowing the automotive industry as it is today, a lot of uncertainty across the board. So that again lends itself to looking to the future and saying we have to have a more stable structure to fund this, or at least to supplement how we fund it. I'll leave it at that. A couple of other things just to note in our budget. Other sources of income, the Airport Commission Administration. Kyra, again, wears many hats in this office, and one of them is the Airport Commission Administrator. She does a great job there as well, and they pay her as part of her salary, supplement her salary from KEDA. We derive some funding for that position here. We do not have the SBDC position here. We used to partially fund that. It was Jenny Herman and then Joanne Smith. That funding has been pulled, but that also, I guess, helps our bottom line that we don't have another partial position to fund. And then we do get some minimal funding from Koochiching administration. Koochiching is still alive. That is a long time gap funder for Koochiching County. They meet on a kind of an as-needed basis. And Kyra does all the finances for those. So I mentioned Koochiching admin, and then we had a little bit of income from the foreign trade zone, just as an administrative. That's for DigiKey, our one user of the FTZ. Expenses, on the expense side, again, very consistent. The biggest expense, obviously, is the employee expense. We've calculated based on last year and then what they're anticipating the COLA is going to be for this year, 2.5 to 3%. So we came in at 3% for staff for 2026. The rest of the expenses are largely insurance, marketing and advertising. We've continued to scale back. We used to spend a lot more on marketing and advertising, and we really never saw a return on that investment. So we're basically pulling back from that. And we have, well, and I'm going to touch on something in our director's report, which kind of relates to marketing as well. We do have some additional professional fees. That's the audit, any legal expenses, and then we've paid in the past for some survey work and/or wetlands work as it relates to projects or sites. Any questions on the KEDA operations budget?
I've got one or two,
Sure.
just so I can understand. If KEDA starts, in real basics, if we start with 306 in KEDA, and we're gonna lose 9,000 roughly, how do we end up with 188,000 at the end of the year? I'm missing something.
Well, historically what we've done is we've carried that over, but we start as if it's almost zero balance.
Okay,
So
understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why we, in the past, we've had to do that, basically assume a zero position. But we know, realizing that we are gonna have, and this is the biggest number we've had for some time. But yeah, good question then.
Thank you.
Anything else?
How do the tariffs affect we're just, the new tariffs, how would they affect our cold weather testing?
It's a great question, and really don't know right now.
Yeah, I understand.
But I know, talking to Ron, that like the UK, the way that they're looking at this, it will affect somewhat how they look at the North American market, including testing. I don't know, Commissioner Roach, if you've talked to some of your people, if they're indicating that that's going to change how they look at the world.
Nope, it doesn't sound like it's going to affect them pretty much at all.
Okay. But in terms of the way it affects, I guess a lot of that remains to be seen. But yeah. And then quickly, the cold weather budget. I just point out a few things. Always tricky again to budget that, and Ricky, you know that as well. It's based a large part the expenses on how severe the winter is, how much plowing you got to do. But our expenses have. We've got enough historical that we can, calculate that. One other big one is utilities. I know a lot of the utility companies are looking at rate hikes. And Minnesota Power was it continued to go up. Now that we've got 3 cold boxes that are running pretty consistently, that's a big expense. When the Minnesota Power people were here visiting with me, I was trying to work out a deal where we don't get that rate break because we're seasonal. If you get to a certain kilowatt threshold, you get a break, and we did meet that for a couple of months, but we're seasonal, so we're not eligible for that. But so utilities are a big one, and then on-site management is a big one. We've had to change up a little bit how we do business, and Tim Jackson has been on the ground with us he's been around cold weather testing longer than anybody, and he's been just a valuable asset over there. He does a little bit of everything for us. He's battling some health issues right now, pretty serious, and so I don't know what we're trying to plan around that, and he's come up with some ideas, but it's going to be tricky to replace him or to work around kind of his limitations there. But because we operate on the airport and because we have test vehicles on the move we'd like to have somebody monitoring. Anytime we've got test people on the ground, we have to have a safety monitor. And this was kind of driven by JLR. We have to have a safety monitor that if there's any incoming planes, if we've got any vehicles in and around the test building that are moving, we have to notify that so we don't have any interaction with aircraft. It's a needed expense, but it's an expense, and if we can't ever take shortcuts on safety, and it's just the cost of doing business on the airport property. I'll just leave it at that. Other than that, if there's any questions specifically on some line items, but again, our budget's been pretty consistent over the years. I think we've got good operational history, but just you never know with utilities and plowing and.
I got one on the cleaning. We don't get a break when that nobody's here for the month of May, June, July, August. It's still on the cleaning part, still $1,250.
Oh, we just did it over 12 months. We just divided it up by 12. But yeah, we have more actually in the months that they're here.
I was just reading it there. It's like,
Yeah,
well, we're still paying you even when nobody's here. So
Yeah.
It's typically like 3,000 during seasonal months, and then during the off season, it's like 1,000. So, but to make it easy, we just break it out throughout the year. So.
yeah. Well, good question though. Thanks.
But the total's 15.
Yeah, it comes out pretty. Yeah, and then again, it depends on how many people are on the ground now with JLR back, with test engineers. Yeah, we have got people in there a couple, 3 times a week. Any other questions for myself or Kyra? I think, Mr. Chair, in the past, what we've done then is just, if there are no questions, to look for adoption of the draft, of the budget.
I'll entertain a motion for adoption of the 2026 draft budget.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion from Mayor Gill,
I'll second it.
seconded from Commissioner Roach. Further discussion?
Just want to clarify that we're doing both budgets in one or separate.
In one would be fine by.
Is that,
Yep.
that'll, the person with the motion and the second agree that
Thank
this
you.
is, we'll be approving both of the budget. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Nevenin. It's, even though there's uncertainty, we're a little more confident or happier with that uncertainty next.
It's
A little less sometimes.
true. Mr. Chair, if I could then, just as a follow-up, the next item is this IRRR. Is it IRRR now? They moved back, right? Mayor, did they go to IRRR? Back to
It's
IRRR.
changed so many times. I just still call it the IRRRB.
As part of our funding request from them, they require a resolution from this body, basically asking for a request for that funding for 2026, and that's in your packets.
And so that's already been done?
Well, no,
It needs to be approved.
we need to
This
approve.
is just a draft. And
Well, you put the motion by Kaler and,
once it's approved, then I can edit that and put that
Oh, all right.
information in.
This is from last year.
so Treasurer Kaler, would you like?
Hey, we'll make it easy on her. I will
And-
approve.
And
Yeah, motion.
Commissioner McIntyre, you are the second listed, is that? Okay. All right. Do we have any further discussion? And you'll have to edit the attendees. I don't think Representative Scraba or Bowler are.
Oh.
All right. All right, all those in favor of the resolution with the corrections, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good, thank you. Okay, you may,
or you get more of me. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just I don't want to scare anybody. I got in a fight with my dermatologist and she won yesterday. That's what I'm facing. Anyway.
continue with the director.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll
So
start off.
what you're saying is everybody can quit staring at them now. Yeah.
We'll just edit that out of the broadcast. The International Fall, I'll lead off with our friend Felix and that project. The I Falls EDA agreed on the final details of the amended developers agreement with Felix Asamoto of Onesimus on the property in the EDA's multimodal site. Basically asked for a end date, change in the end date, and the terms for phase one for purchasing the property. That will allow him to use that property as collateral as he continues to work through the financing with a lender and a supplemental lender. We should know by the end of the month what that's going to look like in terms of that finance package. But this steps us one step closer, and I've reiterated to Felix that he's got the support of this body in the city, but that there's some expectations now where this has to move forward, and he understands that. Stressed that we like the project in concept, but it's got to move forward because we've given it a lot of time, and there's been a lot, and it's basic economic development. Things are going to come up. They never go on a straight line. There's always going to be challenges, and this has been certainly one of those projects. But we're hoping now that this can move forward, and I hope that by next next meeting that Felix will be with us, detailing some of those the finance package and then timelines on moving this thing forward. So, cold weather testing. We are doing a project over there for. I just mentioned we've lost a test customer with electric vehicles, but JLR is still needing an EV fast charger for their programs this winter. EVs in the UK or in the European Union are still actually doing okay, and they're selling. Especially like the Scandinavian countries. I know Norway's really adopted EVs, but with this current administration, and you've seen how the market has reacted to not accepting our EVs. We just got a call, I think 2 weeks ago, about the charger that behind City Drug I don't think's ever worked, or it worked once for a week. And that's part of the problem. Is the infrastructure's not there. The reliability of these chargers is not what it should be. And I think just the cost now with the rebates going away, I think EVs will be a part of the mix in the future. But I just think they pushed this too fast and it wasn't ready. So, but in any event, JLR is purchased a fast charger that should be here, and so we had to create a cement pad and area for that charger on the facility here. So that's underway. And as I mentioned, we had a longtime customer of ours that had scheduled a number of test weeks this year that canceled due to the EV program going away, or at least being suspended for the time being. So as I said, we're looking to backfill, and we're confident we can get back some of those weeks just based on the demand. But we'll have a better sense of that in the weeks to come.
So that's the main reason they canceled, is because of the less demand for EVs, or the rebates, or
a combination. And these were larger trucks, and they've had them here for 2 years. I don't think they've ever operated more than 80 miles without a problem. They've had nothing but problems with the current batteries and vehicles that they had. So it was plagued with problems.
With the development of the trucks, or the EV trucks, that's lots of problems for them.
Lots of problems for them. And there's nothing like old diesel power, especially if you can get clean diesel. Or they're running cleaner than
Yep.
they've ever run, right, Ricky?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yep. And related to what he is saying, I had my co-weather testers actually canceled 4 of their vehicles now that were totally EVs. They got taken right off the market. They're done. They canceled the whole program. So now they're looking more at hybrids than anything. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well. yeah,
Still have the
you-
backup for gasoline power.
Just like, the clean energy, if it doesn't have rebates, it's a lot more expensive.
Yep.
So, yeah, all right.
Yeah, thanks for that. A couple other things. The countywide forum, as you recall, University of Minnesota Extension, working in conjunction with the county, was looking at ways that they could help improve the lives of people in Koochiching County. I know that's a pretty broad topic, but they conducted, they had a committee, they helped develop a survey. It was sent out countywide with the hope of getting some feedback on some key areas of how they might go about assessing what the needs are and to help in some regard. The 5 key areas that they identified were housing, economic development, employment, healthcare, and mental health and community infrastructure. About 20 people showed up last week for that meeting. Several of you were in attendance, which I appreciate. I think it was a small group, but it was an enthusiastic group. And we're going to follow up with follow-up session to put these ideas, try to somehow find a way to put them into action. And I don't know what that's going to look like, but they'll continue to. And I don't know if any of you folks who are in attendance want to add anything, but
Well, I think you covered it.
yeah. AI discussion. Kyra and I met with Ted Saxton and Jim Yunt of Small Town Tech. They wanted to share with us how they're using AI tools to help small businesses in the area. And Ted Saxton's done a lot of work in this area, looking at practical ways that AI, and everybody has a sense of what AI is, but in terms of using it in practical terms and helping small businesses, he's come up with a number of tools using AI that were pretty remarkable. And the potential for these it's impressive. So it was a great opportunity just to learn a little bit more specific about like AI big, meaning this big, massive term out there, and I know a lot of energy and investments being put into these data centers around AI. What it's going to look like in 10 years, 5 years, next year, I don't know. But anyway, it was interesting to see that he's put a lot of energy into trying to say, hey, we can help local businesses with just some of these little, small tools that we've got available to us. So it was eye-opening anyway. I guess the role for us was just let people know that it's out there, and if they've got any questions about using AI, that those are really 2 good local resources for that.
Might be a good time for an English teacher to assign iRobot for kids to read.
There you go. Film-ready communities. I've been looking at this for a while. The Minnesota Film Board has a program, kind of like the DEED has a shovel-ready program. If you've got a shovel-ready site for development, they've got a film-ready, community-ready, film-ready communities program. I said program twice. Which basically is like that site, shovel-ready. You have a host city, you have a contact person, an ambassador, that basically puts together a number of pictures of potential locations, and they go on their website, and when they do have inquiries from commercials or any other film production, you're basically in the front of the line, or at least you're out there, and they can if they're looking specifically for a type of location for a shooting, that you've got information and a contact person that can respond to those. I know that there's about 7 or 8 communities that are on their website, and I thought it would be a good idea for us at least to explore it. So I had a conversation with the person that's heading up the program, and I was asking if we could do like a county-wide site, and they would be open to that, but it would have to be under the umbrella of International Falls area. It's got to be one ambassador. But I thought we could work with the other communities in the county to take some pictures of things of interest, bridges, industrial sites, barns. That they have a list of things that these companies are looking for. So I'm going to work with our local chamber and CVB to at least flesh it out a little bit further. But I think it's a great opportunity. And remember, they filmed the movie International Falls here. They filmed a couple commercials here in the past, and they filmed there's a documentary on the Arrowhead 138.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've all seen that, but it's pretty impressive. And the reason that they're doing this, and the Minnesota Film Board's offering 25% tax credit for any film production in the state, trying to be competitive with Canada and some other areas. So the economic impact from these even a commercial is pretty impressive, and they have some specifics on their website about some of the movies that were shot in Duluth and in the Minneapolis area, how much money they bring into the economy. It's pretty impressive. So with that, I just had one other thing. I had a chance to meet with some representatives from the Rain Lake Medical Center. They were discussing the feasibility of a new medical facility in the community. I know there's been some discussion and some publicity about that, and so they were just they're at a point in time now where they're still working with the USDA, but trying to finalize or trying to develop a plan of action around the feasibility of constructing a new facility here. So with that, Mr. Chair, I will be quiet and or take any questions.
Any questions for the All right, we'll move on to city, county, out-county updates. We'll begin with you, Mayor Dale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Probably the most brief report that I have looking at last month's report. All of the things we were working on that we're still trying to finalize. The director touched on something that Mr. Kaler or Councilor Kaler was involved with. Also, the Rainy River North freshman class is here and ready for a year of fine education, so I'd like to welcome them, and hopefully when their education is finished they choose to stay as well.
Yeah, and they had we had a foundation board meeting this morning, and the community welcome went so well that I understand. I was out of town, but so thank all of you for.
Do we have more kids this year than we've had last year?
Yep. Yeah, their enrollment's up.
Yep, I figured that. I've seen a ton of kids running around town. So, and I mean, at this time of year, normally you don't see a whole bunch, but everywhere you look, there's college kids running around. So, and they're in our community, running through the community, which is good.
Yep, and I think they have 75 students in housing, which is quite an increase. That means out of town students. So, yeah, we love that out of town money.
Absolutely.
Our whole operation, yeah.
Any other updates from the city?
Well, just on there, I drove by and saw the Rainy River baseball team practicing, and they're on their t-shirts and shorts yesterday. I go, God, if they only knew what's going to happen here. In a few months, and I always ask them when they help, because they always help at the Thanksgiving meal, them and all kinds of kids from the high school, but they're out do it, well, their community service stuff. So I always ask them how mad are they at their baseball coach now when it's November, and a couple of years it was like 20 below, and yeah, but they're always, like I've said that before, when they come and they help out those things, they're always more, smiling, happy, good time. Just one thing, a big, because it was the big news for a while, the band shell, we're moving forward a little bit on that now. The committee met again after the survey and public meeting, and so we're, I think that the goal is some version of what we had. It won't be exactly like the old band shell, but the band shell prototyping from it, but that's still in the early stages. And we meet here again, and by God, I had something else here that I know is really important, so you get for having an old man on the call.
Is it going in the same spot?
Yeah, it's gonna be in the same spot. Yeah, but just
That's
something.
the ideal spot.
Have you guys looked at the band shell they have in Cloquet?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Down when you drive by, you can
Yeah.
see it back in there.
Yeah.
That's basically a smaller version
Yeah.
of what we had.
Yeah, and we're going to do something like that, and and still, it's way off. We're just starting, and of course, a lot of it's within the financial constraints with the insurance, and we're still working on some of that. But I just thought we'd let people know that we are
Thank you.
moving forward a little bit, because I knew it was a big deal.
Can I ask a quick question? 9th Street project,
Yep.
is, how are they gonna finish it for this year?
They are going to, no, correct me if I'm wrong, they're going, I think they're going up to 8th Avenue, and then they're gonna overlay it so they can plow and stuff and whatever they can do for that.
Won't be finished. Though.
Won't be finished, no.
Won't all be overlaid.
Yeah, right, it'll just be so they can maintain it, and seeing as we're on that. Might as well talk, me and the mayor attended the 1171 corridor meeting yesterday, and that came on, they're looking for ideas or how correct they were with the assessment, and that went well.
That's a time frame. That's out a couple of years.
Oh yeah, 29, and I could tell you how many, yeah, it's moved along a few times, but yes, like all things, right?
2029.
Yep. Might as well. From the feeling I got, you might want to take some practice runs out here on 53 and 332 and work over on the roundabout. They didn't come out and say, but yeah.
They make them a little wider, you can drift through them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to county updates. Commissioner Roach.
Well, our jail, we have a county board meeting on Tuesday, and they are going to take us through the jail for a tour of it. It is coming right along. Looks like they probably should be giving it pretty much to us at the end of this month, first part of next month. Parking lot's getting ready for blacktop. The memorial out front is set to get poured, it looks like. Everything there is moving right along very well. Working with the city, trying to get some final ends buttoned up with them guys on a few things that we got going, and everything's looking pretty good.
Very good. Thank you. Adam?
Yeah, it's budget season for us, so we've been working hard on our county budget to make sure that we take it easy on people. And I was working this morning, there's a new business in Battalion's old building that'll be coming in. Miners owns that building, and Choice Therapy, I think, is moving in there in the next month or two.
Okay.
And
So just for an update for you guys.
No, that's a good idea. Whatever, yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
And Citizen Hanson, you are now the chair. I'm going to leave. I have a medical appointment, so that I have to get on the road. And then you will also give us the update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good luck. Medical appointments are not always the funnest thing. I made some notes at home. They weren't voluminous or anything like that, but I put them right by the door next to my phone so I wouldn't forget them. I hope no one calls me. North Dome, things are going well. They're starting to get prepared for fall. I talked to Big Falls, told them that we were gonna be there in mass on the 22nd of October, and I don't think that they're gonna have a parade or anything like that, but they're grateful that we're coming to see them, and that'll be our October meeting. In Little Fork, they're just wrapping up a needs assessment and visioning planning with a grant they got from the Blandon Foundation. And then they told me that they had an evening of outdoor entertainment and they had outdoor movies. I haven't found out how they did it, but they told me there was a lot of golf carts and side-by-sides. So where would they have it? I don't know.
That was in North Home?
No, Little Fork.
Oh.
In Little Fork. In the western part of the county, they had in the Birchdale area, they had the band and the burger, and they had like 80 people come. So it was pretty fun with a white elephant sale going on at the same time. I attended the Minnesota Extension Forum here in the Falls, and I think there's a foundation there. There was 2 or 3 of us from a rural area, I think. So, and I think, there's a beginning of a foundation for some progress. It only takes one, and there was everyone seemed willing to put out their ideas, and it'll be an ongoing process. And I appreciate everybody that's been there. What else, Paul? What else did we do? The end of school. We're going to sign on the dotted line today. And there's been arrangements to turn the power back on. So I don't know where the parade and the party is going to go, but it'll be a whole different decade for the end of school.
Main thing is power's getting turned back on, the building's not going to waste.
Yeah, no, and I think we've attested to this before, that it looks like they just left.
Yeah.
So I and Paul have met with the new owners, and we're going to continue to do that after the contract is signed. But it'll be today.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And we talked a little bit about all the help that Senator Smith's aide, Peter Mikowski, has given International Falls and Koochiching County over the years. He was retired. There's a new gentleman there, and I know that you've met him. DeFranco, is that his last name?
Orion.
Yeah. Well, I guess we were wondering what you would feel about him joining us here and sit down and chat about the area at one of our upcoming meetings.
Absolutely.
I think anytime.
Yeah.
Yep.
Orion DeFranco.
He
Nice
tried to.
young
He didn't spell his name for me, but
Orion or DeFranco or both? Because I would need help with both, probably. There should be some version of onion.
Where is he based
Orion
on?
would probably be like
Is he on the range or the
Yeah.
DeFranco, I think would be pretty easy.
Well, he's in DC most of the time, I think.
Oh, okay.
I've got his info and card on my desk.
I didn't know if there was a local, like Pete was based on the range.
And lastly, the last thing I have is October 4th at Minnesota North, Rainy River Junior College will be the Cancer Walk. And I know I've already done at least half of the people here, but the Cancer Walk was started by some International Falls ladies who formed a personal group called No One Walks Alone. And it came about because of the amount of travel that anybody, and not just International Falls, but the whole Koochiching County has to do to get to their cancer appointments, whether it's chemo or radiation. Sometimes a lot of them have physical disabilities that make it difficult to travel, and the expenses are high, hotel rooms, so forth and so on. Well, No One Walks Alone, with the help of a number of other people, have started a gas card, and it's been going on for some years, a gas card program where if you're a cancer patient in International Falls or anywhere in the county, if you have to travel, I give a gas card of $300. This year, they've already approached 70 different people awarding. And the reason I got, do I have to tell the whole story, Paul? Or skip it?
You can tell the story.
About 6 years and a few days ago, I was told, and it took about 10 seconds, that you have rectal cancer, you're going to need radiation, you're going to need chemo, and you're going to be wearing a pouch. All in 10 seconds. So I didn't want anybody to know, you know. And they told me at the time, well, you'll get comfortable, and you know, I guess I have done that. But they give a $300 gas card, and at the forum with the Minnesota Extension, I walked out of there with $500. And I don't know if there's 2 gentlemen here that have already given, and I'm not necessarily looking for money today, but if anybody approaches you or any organization, I would, I'd take your money or any donation to help them out. And the Cancer Walk again is October 4th. So, is there any public comment? Obviously not. The next meeting is set for Big Falls at 10 o'clock on October 22nd. Paul, have you anything else you'd like to add?
No, one other thing
Gonna come
sticks
grab
with me from
Can you come
the
and grab me?
from the event with the extension. And you said it, Mike. You said it's a privilege to live here. And you know, I was driving back from Bemidji yesterday, and how beautiful it was, and stopped in Big Falls, and just it's a really good time of year just to do that, just to get out and remind ourselves how lucky we are to be living here, because it was pretty darn nice.
I would like to see some organization use the word privilege in their little come on speech, because it really is. Yeah. Do we need a motion to end the meeting anymore? Or I know that Robert rules of orders have changed. Is there anything else? Seek a motion of adjournment then.
I'll move.
Done.
Thank you.
Thank you all.